TVA internal comms. Subject line, Thunderbolts. Agents Nakware and Jonathan. If advanced reviews of the latest Marvel blockbuster are to be believed, this one should be a walk in the park, gentlemen. Your assignment is to review Thunderbolts and, as per usual, determine if it belongs on the sacred timeline or relegated to the void. As you make your assessment, a small piece of advice: tread lightly. Upper management will not take kindly to you pruning Florence Pugh without perfectly justifiable reasons. Do what you must, gentlemen, but keep those receipts handy, and do try not to muck it up.
I just want to say, I thought I was bringing the heat with my shirt today. Y'all can't see it, but it's a t-shirt that says,
"Keep creating dope-ass shit till someone notices."
It's from a woman who's got a tea company called Messages in a Bottle is Fire. And then I walked in and J-Mac is rocking. You want to tell the people what you're rocking?
It's King Hippo punch-out shirt.
It's pretty fire. I'm a little jealous.
It's a little old. I need a new one.
It's still pretty great.
The idea is there.
So kick us off.
This is the Entertainment Variance Authority. And today we're talking about, I don't even know anymore. I thought we were talking about Thunderbolts, asterisk. But spoilers, maybe that's not what it's called now?
I think we're actually talking about the new Avengers.
I think we're talking about the new Avengers. At least that's what the ad campaign has led me to believe. I guess this is the Thunderbolts asterisk / the new Avengers episode. Where do you want to start?
Let's go ahead and start with some time tidbits. Is there anything that's coming up that you want to cover in the world of film, TV,
Yes.
video games?
There is a development that has happened this week. Avengers Doomsday, the upcoming film, has been pushed back, and Avengers Secret Wars has also been pushed back. I'm so happy about it because I feel like it was only a few weeks ago they announced, right? Like pretty much when Thunderbolts came out, they were like, a year from now, Doomsday. And I was like, yo, I know that there's an army of VFX artists working for you guys, but that feels a little aggressive.
It's a lot.
You just started shooting this? No, please take the time. Do what you have to do. Make it good.
Give space.
I'll be here. My dollars are earmarked. It's not a problem. So I'm so delighted to hear that both of those films have been pushed back. And what I've heard is that might mean that the next Spider-Man movie actually comes out first, which I think will be interesting.
That is interesting.
What I've heard is that perhaps Tom Holland's stunt double was going to be responsible for a lot of Spider-Man's appearances in Doomsday. I don't know if that's confirmed or whatever, but that's the rumor. And maybe this will change that. Maybe we'll get more Tom Holland. I don't know, but I'm excited that they're taking more time to make this film as good as possible.
I agree. We want good entertainment. Take your time, do it right. On that same note, I want to talk about, who has a higher Q rating right now than Tom Holland? The man's thriving. He's doing great. Bags Zendaya. Nobody saw that coming. He's living his best life. He's Spider-Man. He looks great. He's got just the right amount of swag. He doesn't step out of his bag too much. He stays within his lane. He knows it. He gets it. I think we're all in agreement that once they're married, he has to drop the Holland, right? Like, she's not going to become Zendaya Holland.
No way.
So he can't take her last name either. That's way too untraditional. So I think they just have to become Zendaya and Tom, which is fun.
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic. Tom's wearing the tights in this relationship.
Oh, yeah,
but
for
he's
sure.
not wearing the pants, I don't think.
No. If you saw her in Challengers, you know he is definitely not wearing the pants.
That's fine. You know, I'm happy for him. He seems like he's doing well.
Look, we support strong women over here. Okay?
Yeah,
Look,
we definitely do.
if he wants to hang up the Spider-Man mantle, become a stay-at-home hubby, we support this.
You know, I think he actually said in an interview that he kind of does want to do that. And the other thing that I heard him say in an interview is that he tends to let Zendaya, when she's got a movie coming out, he's on the red carpet.
As he
Right.
shouldn't be.
Because this isn't about us. This is about her.
Yeah.
And she deserves her limelight. And I think that's really cool.
I think more couples could benefit from understanding that everyone can shine and It can make us both better. They do a really good job of that. Let's be clear, Zendaya is the star in their orbit. So he also only has so much choice in that because
He is Spider-Man.
but she's Zendaya. Like,
Yeah.
here's the thing. He's Spider-Man in film.
Yeah.
She's Zendaya in real life.
She wakes up, she's Zendaya.
Exactly.
She goes to bed at night, still Zendaya.
100%.
He wakes up, he's Tom Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to the set, becomes Spider-Man.
Exactly. And we love that about Tom. He's great.
We're not going to review a Spider-Man movie for a while, so I do want to take this opportunity and talk about something.
Okay, go.
There is a Twitter account that deserves a shout out. I'm not sure if it's still active, but I'm throwing it out here. I don't use Twitter for reasons. But when I did, there was an account called Respect the Hyphen. Do you know about this account?
I do not.
Here's how this account works. It's a bot account. Anytime someone mentions Spider-Man on Twitter, if they do not include the hyphen, how do you spell Spider-Man? S-P-I-D-E-R hyphen M-A-N. That's how you spell it. Anytime they write Spider-Man 2 words, Spider-Man 1 word, no hyphen, this account would automatically respond to them and say, hey, great tweet. Just wanted to let you know you did forget the hyphen in Spider-Man. So if you go to the account and look at their feed, every single tweet is a reply to someone that says, hey, great tweet. Just want to let you know you did forget the hyphen in Spider-Man. That's it. That's the whole account.
That is phenomenal.
It's so good.
This is what we need the robots for. This is what we need the technology for. We don't need to make this overly complex. Fix simple problems, okay?
Yeah.
Let's get people understanding
There's
how
a
to
hyphen for a
properly
reason.
spell Spider-Man.
There's also a hyphen in Ant-Man.
That is true. But
Don't call him Ant-Man.
But we don't respect Ant-Man. Moving
Whoa.
on. Moving on.
Whoa.
The last piece I wanted to bring up in nerd news, now that I've gotten Jonathan appropriately fired up and moved on to the next topic, is we have Ironheart coming out. We've gotten some trailers. They look pretty dope. I'm super excited. Riri Williams was really shoehorned into the Wakanda Forever film. I thought it was jarring, but I like the character. I think she's interesting. I don't know a ton about her, but I find her intriguing. And the trailers for the show look great. I am a little scared because it very much seems like Marvel is trying to shelve this. Thoughts?
Yeah, we got to talk about this kind of as like a larger topic, I think. The rumors that I keep hearing are that it's this homework issue, right?
Yeah.
I fundamentally disagree with this. I've stated this numerous times. I think that it is okay to go watch a Marvel movie and not have seen the 8 things that are related to it. A lot of these articles that are like, oh, before you see Thunderbolts / the new Avengers, you got to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. You got to watch all the Avengers movies. You got to watch this. You got to watch that. It's like, no, you can go and enjoy this on its own merits. Anyway, I don't want to retread previous ground here, but I think that there's a shift. I think that phase 4, 5, and maybe 6 will be the last time that they tie the movies to the TV shows and vice versa. We're going to see more stuff that is intentionally designed to stand alone and doesn't require the quote unquote homework. And so I'm kind of worried about this one.
Yeah.
And part of the reason I'm worried about it is because you have created a behavior pattern with your audience, right? Where a lot of us are looking for the connections and hints and behind the scenes stuff. What makes me scared about Ironheart is, are we going to be able to give this any kind of a shake that does not involve us thinking about Iron Man?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Nope.
There is no way that the general MCU appreciating audience watches this show and isn't thinking about the first 3 Iron Man films. And you know what? Those films came out a long time ago.
Yeah.
But their ghost lingers. And I think there's no way that you get through this show without thinking about Iron Man and Tony Stark. And it's going to hold it back.
Not only that, there's a strong chance that this character doesn't make it out of the show. And I think that's unfortunate. The actress is incredible. The character is really cool. And because of what you just said, I do think Marvel's moving in a new direction. I just don't think we see this character making it much further. That's frustrating because I think they really were experimenting with some cool stuff with mixing magic and tech and playing with some lesser known characters in the Marvel universe that I think like more diehard fans would be drawn to and find solace in smaller stories that could get them through just a random Tuesday. We're going to lose some of that.
I'm going to pause here to say I'd like to go on a tangent.
Okay, hit me with your tangent.
Okay, in thinking about this, it's hard not to think about this other gigantic movie, entertainment, sci-fi franchise. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here talking about Mobile Suit Gundam, if I may.
Oh boy.
So here's the point.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I need to pause to let you know that, like, when J-Mac says he's going on a tangent here, what he means is he's about to get into his bag. Okay, so be prepared for a very succinct yet in-depth discussion.
I'll keep it light. So here's the thing, is that Mobile Suit Gundam's been around since 1979, right? And so you have a problem, which is you want to appeal to the old fans, but you need to appeal to the new fans. And I think Marvel has the same problem now, right? Characters like Riri Williams are new even in the comics, right? Relatively new, especially when you're talking about things like what's the next movie that's coming out? The Fantastic Four? They've been around since the 60s. That's a lot of time. So how do you simultaneously appeal to an older audience that is expecting some of these older characters to show up and try to introduce them and win them over with some of these new characters that don't have nearly as much of a history? Here's another example. So you got Riri Williams coming out in Ironheart, and then one of the next shows that's coming out is Wonder Man. What do you know about Wonder Man?
Nada.
Yeah, because Wonder Man hasn't really been that important to even the comics since before I was alive. And that means several decades ago at this point, right? There are characters that have persisted in a lot of ways, and Wonder Man has not, right? Yeah. So that feels like a show that is intended to bring back some of that older audience, whereas Riri Williams and Ironheart seems more in tune with how do we capture the people who are reading the comics now. And I think the thing that Mobile Suit Gundam has done really well, it has figured out through a difficult period of time and a lot of failed attempts, it has figured out how to simultaneously appeal to the old fans while introducing new people to the franchise. And I don't think Marvel's figured it out yet.
In 2 sentences, tell me how Mobile Suit Gundam has done this.
Well, for a while, they were embracing both. They were just supplying things to both. You had this storyline that was intended for older fans. And then you had a bunch of one-off shows that were like 50 episodes total, one and done kind of things that were intended to bring in a younger audience. What they've done recently is they went back to the original show and made a new show with really fresh animators that are doing like a completely different style, like a very like artistic, cartoony, fun style. And what they did is they took the original show and they changed one of the major plot points. Hey, what if the bad guys won instead of the good guys? How would that change things? And what they've been able to do is create a show that feels fresh and new and is reintroducing characters that we've known about for 40 years and reintroducing robot designs that we've known about for 40 years in a way that has given them permission to freshen them up and make them feel new again. I don't know how you do that in Marvel. I think they're trying to figure that out.
That sounds incredible. That's what we as fans would respond best to. The only way you can accomplish that is if you have a 40-year view. You can only do that if you operate under the assumption that you are going to be around for that long, because that gives you the space to put the keys in the hands of the creators and not the accountants. And that is not to say that there isn't a place for appropriate budgeting and reeling, but you need to allow your creators to collaborate on the scale of these things. They've made some really interesting decisions and choices that we thought were cool that didn't get a fair shake, because I think they're trying to fit all of their material into one formula that is the blockbuster formula. What you just described to me isn't a blockbuster formula.
No, it's a television show.
Exactly. It's not built to bring in $2 billion. And Marvel would actually benefit from taking that approach where you can get away with Ms. Marvel. I like Ms. Marvel a lot, but it's not for everyone. If you're not making it for everyone,
right,
then that can be allowed to flourish and succeed and have multiple seasons. And maybe that character further down the line can come onto the big screen and be a big budget project. But with Marvel, one of the issues they are running into is the homogeny of their approach. They're trying to make everything mega big budget, mega blockbuster, and for everyone. And I've said this before, you can't make everything for everyone or everything's going to suck.
I'm going to take 1 second here and make one more point about this. Do you feel like it's a letdown that the old X-Men actors are coming back for Secret Wars for Doomsday?
Yes, I think it's always a letdown when Marvel brings back old actors the way they've done it thus far.
Yes.
It just feels like they're falling back on nostalgia and ease of use and not letting the story lead us there. I love Patrick Stewart.
Yep.
I love Halle Berry. I love all of those actors in the characters that they were, but I want them to be brought back with purpose, not just because, well, people really like them, so like let's get them in the movie and that'll get us more money.
Deadpool Wolverine was the best send-off for all the Fox movies and all the Fox actors that we needed. It accomplished that masterfully. And bringing those same characters back for Doomsday feels like a misstep. We did it. We had our chance to say goodbye and also to see those people reprise those roles one more time. We didn't get all of them, fair, but we did get some of them, and we at least had a send-off for that entire like spike of what Marvel has done in the films. And by bringing a lot of those characters back for this next film, it feels like you have lost the opportunity to introduce a new cast. I know what Famke Jensen is as Jean Grey. I understand that. I know Ian McKellen as Magneto. I get it. But like eventually we kind of collectively know that they're moving towards new X-Men films, right? I want to know who those people are going to be. I want to see those actors. And by appealing to the older audience that grew up with the Fox X-Men films, they are losing out on an opportunity to build an audience that is younger and looking forward to what's coming next.
So, and I'm going to end on this because I think this transitions very well into our discussion of the new Avengers. For me, it showcases a lack of confidence. A lack of confidence in what they're trying to do, the stories they're trying to build, and putting new material out there that they think their fans will respond positively to without the backing of some form of nostalgia. And the reason I say I want to transition that to Thunderbolts is because one of the things I appreciate most about this film. This was a confident film. It set out with a few simple goals. It did those. It didn't stray. It didn't call too much to the larger universe. It didn't try to do more than it was. The post-credit scene was the perfect tie to let you know that this story is going to continue and that there's bigger stuff happening there. This was a very self-contained, small, impactful story that stands on its own. The characters well developed, the cinematography's really good, and it's fun. It was the first time in a while that I went to a Marvel movie and I left and I was like, that was just fun. It had drama, it had comedy, and I'm satisfied. I'm starting to feel a little bit of momentum here. I'm starting to feel like we're maybe getting back on the rails a little bit because I walked in with honestly very little idea of what this story was going to be. And I left and I was like, they did it. They executed it. I'm happy. There were certainly flaws. There always will be. But generally, I really enjoyed all of the characters. And that's a big deal. Every single character hit for me. You got a little bit more about a lot of characters that we didn't know a ton about. And so there was some world building in that sense. And we got deeper and felt more connected to some characters that we had seen in smaller roles and really didn't like in the case of fucking John Walker, who's still an asshole, but now he's our asshole. I really enjoyed Thunderbolts. Thoughts?
I agree with all of that, but it's really not possible for me to think about this film and not think about the meta of what's going on. with Marvel movies as a whole.
Okay.
This felt like a bunch of characters who were on the outs, right? Black Widow, Florence Pugh's Black Widow.
Time out. Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Wow. Big ScarJo fan over here. But Florence Pugh, I've been a fan. I was unfamiliar with your game, miss. Oh my. From the opening theater pieces to her role, she was killing it. She is smoking hot in this role.
It was her film.
Yes. Dominates.
Yeah. She shows up in the story lacking purpose, right? Her thread here is that she feels an emptiness. She feels a lack of drive. A lot of that has to do with the former Black Widow, her sister, passing away. But all of the characters felt like that.
Exactly.
And by extension, the conversation around this film before it came out felt like that for the MCU. Like, where are we going with this? We know Robert Downey Jr. is coming. We know Doomsday's coming, and I guess that's cool. But the dialogue seems to have been that the MCU has been on the outs for a while.
Yeah.
That since the Infinity Saga came to an end, it's had trouble finding its footing. Again, I don't totally agree with that, but that seems to be where the conversation is going. This film feels like a direct reaction to that, right? The characters were kind of mirroring that. Like, what is our purpose? What are we trying to achieve? And at the end, what you get is a movie that felt more like a comic book movie in a lot of ways than a lot of the most recent MCU films, in that it's not just a punch 'em up.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that's really important. That's actually the thing I enjoy most about the film, is that the third act is not just a giant battle.
Yes.
Not that I don't like that. Look, I love big climactic fights, but this was something new. This was the new Avengers fighting depression.
I'm going to hop in here because I think that is interesting, in that you felt that this movie was a meta reflection on where Marvel stands in the current cultural diaspora. I find that interesting because I actually think that gives Marvel too much credit. I actually don't think Marvel is that self-aware.
Well, you know what they say about art. You put it out there and then it gets interpreted how it will.
Exactly. I don't think Marvel is that self-aware. I took this more as a reflection on society writ large right now.
Sure.
In our awareness of mental struggles more than ever, and the proliferation seems to be higher than ever, and contrasting that with our access to technology and how the purpose of that has been to bring us closer together, and it has oftentimes brought us further apart. I thought that this movie was a reflection of a general feeling that there's less connection and people are feeling more isolated.
That's fair. This is maybe not just an American viewpoint, maybe a global viewpoint as we're recording this, but things are tough and uncertain. An interesting take on this is, what do you do? What do you choose to do when things feel uncertain, when society feels unbalanced, when the odds are against you? And I think that these characters are not redeemed by the end.
No.
There's not really a redemption arc here, but at least they found something. At least they
Yes.
found something to believe in a little bit. At least they found something to support a little bit. And that was a cool character development and a different kind of character development.
Yeah, it's relatable. One of the things I talk about, I'm a big believer in gray. We want to look at the world as black and white, but for the most part, we're all dealing in shades of gray. There's obviously right and wrong, but a lot of the decisions we make are more amorphous than that. It's more like you can be up for 4 jobs and all of them can be solid options, but they will affect your lifestyle, your career, and your family moving forward in very different ways. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a right or a wrong choice. That would make things a lot easier if you were like, well, this job is clearly the right thing, and I don't want to work for Marlboro because I don't want to kill people. You know, that's right and wrong. It's very different when you're talking about slight salary differences and lifestyle changes and possibly moving because I can double my salary, but what does that mean for my family? All of those things are very amorphous. All of these things are very gray. This movie did a really good job of exploring that. These are clearly bad people who are trying to do a good thing. And what does that mean? What does it mean when our heroes are flawed? What does it mean when our politicians are flawed? And how do we respond as a society? And how do we deal with that?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, same. I think this movie did a really good job dealing with some of those mental health issues and really tussling with how we as a society can support each other and how we as a society respond as individuals, as groups, and as a larger culture.
You said the word nuance, and we are talking about a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, this one's nuanced. This one actually does have a little bit of gray. Do you think that's fair?
I think it's fair. I think it's fair. You've gone into the past couple Marvel movies, particularly expecting a big exploding fight and the good guy to win. And you don't really get that here. These characters aren't redeemed, but they're certainly put into a position where by the end, they are looked upon more favorably than they are in the beginning. And there is a path for them to be better people. That doesn't mean that they are, but there is certainly a path. And the immediate threat is resolved.
Yes.
But it is also made very clear that that threat remains and needs to be monitored.
What might be an interesting exercise to watch this film and try to figure out which characters you can label as villains and heroes, and if you even can. In my mind, there's really only one villain in this film, and it is Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Val.
She is the only clear villain.
I think she's the only clear villain. Everyone else has something going on, more of a gray disposition.
Now, Val has a statement in the movie that I think is a variation of something I've said before, and I find it very interesting. She says, you think that there are good guys and there are bad guys, and then one day you realize there are bad guys and there are worse guys. I think that is very interesting because it's extremely pessimistic, it's extremely nihilistic, and it assumes the worst in people. And the reason I say it is a variation of a statement I've said is because it is the worst possible version of a statement I've said where I say, there aren't good decisions or bad decisions. There are decisions and there are consequences. And what I mean when I say that is you can do whatever the hell you want. But in doing that, someone has the right to respond to that. You can call me the N-word. I also can punch you in the face.
Sure.
You can go to your local grocery store and steal candy, and you may get caught and sentenced for theft. You can do all of these things, but there are consequences with them. And so the extreme of that is exactly what Val said. There are bad guys and there are worse guys. And what she means when she says that is in order to do the quote unquote right thing, you have to do the wrong thing because there's someone out there looking to do a worse thing. And I think that sentiment is what clearly makes her the villain. The expectation that anyone is only looking out for themselves in their own advancement at the expense of everyone else. That is the core of her belief.
Yeah, I think that's right. She's an interesting character. I want to talk about her assistant.
Okay.
Who is she?
She's great. Mel, you're talking about Mel?
Yeah.
She's great. We love Mel. The actress's name is Geraldine I'm going to butcher this. Geraldine Viswanathan. How'd I do with that?
I thought you did great. She's so important to the film. Is it just that she's Val's assistant, or do you think we're going to see her again in another film?
She plays the perspective of the audience. She is meant to be us. She is meant to be the person that we would like to think we are in a situation like that, where she's got herself into a role where she is the assistant of a director of the CIA. It's great career opportunity, strong advancement opportunities. Like, she's going to do it. And then she gets in a little bit over her head. She's doing stuff she clearly morally disagrees with and is tussling, like we've discussed about, in that gray area of what do I do? I can continue down this road doing stuff that I don't agree with morally, but is going to advance my career and help me have the life that I want, or I can do what I believe to be right. And inevitably, she does what's right. So in that sense, she is meant to be the audience representative, which is really cool and really well done. The movie, in a lot of ways, is seen through her perspective outside of Yelena. Yelena is clearly the sole protagonist, and the viewpoint of the movie is through her eyes.
I think that's fair.
But Mel is the second version of that. The opposing viewpoint is through Mel's eyes. And with that being said, I was thinking of characters who kind of play that role in the past. Is it possible that she's a Phil Coulson type moving forward?
Sure. Like the heart of the operation kind of character. I could see that. A lot of great characters in this film.
Yeah, let's get into some of the character stuff. Who are you rocking with? Who didn't work for you, if anybody? Who did you love? Who did you hate? I have to call out Sebastian Stan. I thought he crushed it. This was by far, in my opinion, the best appearance of the Winter Soldier. His entrance was the coolest entrance of a character we've had in a Marvel movie in like 5 to 10 films.
Well, apparently that was influenced heavily by Terminator 2.
Yes, it was.
I think that's real obvious, but it worked.
Oh, he's fantastic. He is great. I loved it. I loved everything about it. He looks great. The ladies love him. Questions that I have for him as we get into that a little bit is, by the end of this, is he still a congressman? By the end, it's a year and some odd later than the film, and I'm not sure if he's still a congressman.
I sure hope he is, because they kind of introduced that in Captain America Brave New World, and then only had him in that capacity a little bit in this film. So if they totally get rid of that, they're kind of throwing that away, and I think there's some more interesting stuff they could do with that. So I hope so, but I'm not sure. We don't really see everything he's up to in the post-credit sequence. One thing I thought this film did really well is it gave us the backstory with all the characters without beating us over the head with it. So you see a little bit of the tragedy that is John Walker. Just a little bit. You get a glimpse. You get enough to understand what's going on. And that felt very comic booky to me, right? Where maybe you only get a few panels to understand the backstory, but it's in there. I thought we got that. We get the backstory of what Red Guardian has been up to since the Black Widow film. Spoilers, is not great. We don't get a whole lot of what Ghost has been up to, but that's okay because you get enough to understand who she is. I think the test there is that when we went to go see it, my wife Danielle was with us, and she has not seen Ant-Man 2, and it didn't really affect her at all. She was like, oh, she phases. It's fine. She's Kitty Pryde, no dragon. Get it.
Exactly.
I totally get it. It's fine. So that was cool. Taskmaster getting murdered very quickly.
Yeah, Taskmaster gets shot in the face.
I kind of would like to see that character do more stuff, but I was really disappointed with that character in the Black Widow film because of how dynamic and interesting that character is in the comics, and I feel like that was a little bit watered down. So I would have liked to see her get another shot at portraying that character with a little bit more depth, and we didn't really get that. So I was a little disappointed, but it didn't feel like anything was missing.
No.
The cast was tight. The moments that we had with them were all killer, no filler. Bob was great as Bob, the Sentry, and the Void.
Yeah.
Yeah. What an amazing character. You know, shows up in the first act as primarily comic relief, becomes a villain by the third act. Just incredible stuff. And also is still around.
Yeah.
In a really interesting way, right? Because he can't be allowed to remember everything that happened, or the Void shows up again.
Yep.
So it's up to the new Avengers to kind of keep an eye on him.
That's a really cool thing to dig into. Like, what does happen when superheroes have mental health issues? Like, that's just a dope concept. It's not a black and white issue. Like, there's a lot of gray in there. Like, we want to keep him around because, one, because we don't know how to kill him yet. But also, two, like, he's a human. We shouldn't just be killing people all willy-nilly. But what happens when he finds out what he can do or what he has done?
Yeah.
And how does he respond to that? And they do touch on that in a really cool way. And I think it's done really well.
One of the things that Marvel Comics has done historically that I appreciate is create characters that are inherently flawed. And we don't always see that in the MCU.
Yeah.
Right? Tony Stark is an alcoholic in the MCU. There's just simply not time.
Technically, there's like 2 scenes where he's blackout drunk and Yeah.
Sure.
But I
there's
get
not
your
a
larger point.
storyline
Agreed,
about
agreed.
his alcoholism, right? Like Hank Pym is in the film, but we don't see the Hank Pym that like abuses his wife from the comics, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of that is missing from these characters or watered down in some way, right? Tony Stark is self-centered in the MCU,
Yeah.
but he's not an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that made this film interesting is that these are bad people.
Yeah. And they're all flawed.
John Walker ruined his marriage,
Mhm.
right? And you get just a little bit of it.
You get to see Yelena be a bit of an alcoholic.
You do. And you also get to see her be just a stone cold killer.
Yeah.
Like no remorse kind of killer. You get to see Red Guardian be
Absolute
super
slob.
self-centered and a slob. Yeah. Ghost actually is kind of the one that has it the most together on this
Yeah,
team.
for sure.
Just because I guess they didn't do his scene where they're like, here's her horrible big
Yeah,
thing or
exactly.
whatever.
We just understand that, well, she has a suit that keeps her in the world.
Yeah, I heard a lot of rumors about Lawrence Fishburne was originally going to be in it, and they were going to have more backstory with her. She was going to have more of a relationship going on with Taskmaster that didn't make it into the final film. None of that's missing.
No.
In fact, if anything, I could have used a little bit more of
Yeah.
certain characters or certain things. I'm excited to see the new Avengers show up in Doomsday and what they're going to do with that. There's two other things I want to talk about, but what else you got?
I really thought the chemistry with the actors and actresses and the characters was superb.
Yes.
From the acting to the writing to the understanding of the world that they were building in this film, it was great. Red Guardian showing up after they've already done the rescue to save Yelena is one of the funniest things I've seen in a Marvel movie in
his
a
rental
while.
limo.
It's incredible because it's also very, very relatable. It's being a parent. Like, no matter if you've got the superhero serum and your child's a lethal assassin, you're going to be a parent and you're going to embarrass her in front of her new friends. Like, LeBron James's kids still think he ain't that cool. He's just dad. At the end of the day, you're still a parent and those are still your kids and they're going to think you're lame. That's what they're supposed to think.
That's right.
And it's your job to be the lame that is looking out for their best interests.
I also think it goes without saying, no, you know what? It's worth saying here. David Harbour is a comedic talent.
Yes.
And I'm tired of pretending that he's not.
He's fantastic.
You know, Hopper from Stranger Things, big breakout role, big serious role. There's moments of humor, but that's not really what that character is about. Red Guardian is just unhinged David Harbour.
Phenomenal.
Can we talk about the fact that the accent's not that good?
No.
But I don't care.
No one cares.
I do not
No
care
one cares.
because it's part of the joke and it's hilarious. He's so fucking funny in this movie.
And they all are. The timing of it all is exceptional. John Walker's arrogance and Ghost and Yelena just calling him out on bullshit constantly is great when they're like, oh yeah, they're here to save you. It's so good. His narcissism, his self-centeredness, still believing he's the good guy. Phenomenal. And Bob just continually throughout the movie, be it Louis Pullman, oh, God bless you. Just continue to be like, no, I'm Bob. I'm Bob. And it's the perfect name because character with God level powers whose name is just Bob
Maybe the strongest character in the MCU.
is incredible because at the end of the day, he's just a dude who's trying to figure it out and it's hilarious and it's good. And yeah, it's really well done. The chemistry that they develop, the way they play off each other, the humor, even Julia Louis-Dreyfus, phenomenal. You said you had a couple more things you wanted to touch on.
Yeah, so here's one of my questions about this film. And I want to just explore this with you a little bit because I've been thinking about it. This feels like the dark reflection of the Avengers.
I would agree with that.
Right? There's so many parallels in this film to the Avengers film, right? The fact that it ends in New York.
Yep.
The fact that Julia Louis-Dreyfus is pouring scotch in the Avengers Tower that's now no longer the Avengers Tower, right? The team coming together. There's a lot of parallels in this film that are just kind of a look back, right? Now, we've brought it up earlier and you were like, I'm not sure Marvel's that self-aware, but there are elements of this film that are self-aware. And they're like, it's been a long time since that first Avengers movie. And let's take a look back at where we are, right? And let's take a look at some of the parallels. And if you're going to make a film that's called The New Avengers, having those reflections back to that original film makes a lot of sense.
Oh, I didn't even think about it in that context. Okay.
Right? Think about it from like a mirror reflection. Avengers 1 ends with the biggest, most climactic battle ever, and Tony Stark self-sacrificing.
Yep.
This film also had a moment of self-sacrifice, which was Yelena entering the void, having no idea what was going to happen. At that point in the film, your best bet as the audience is if you get voided out, you are dead.
You're gone.
You're totally dead.
Side note, for context, just before that in the film, there's a moment that Marvel executed perfectly where David Harbour as Red Guardian saves a little girl from a falling piece of concrete. He steps in, he covers her, and the concrete breaks over his back, and the crowd cheers. He saved the girl. It's this amazing moment. And immediately after, the void blips this girl into a shadow.
Yep.
And for a moment, you think Marvel has just killed a child on screen.
Yeah.
Really powerful, and I audibly gasped.
You remember how in Avengers the Chitauri are attacking, and yet most of the humans got saved?
Yeah.
Captain America saved a bunch of people, and then later at the end of the film, they're all in the news, and they're like, Captain America saved me, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right? In this film, no, most of New York got voided.
Yes.
Most of New York was, as far as we knew, dead.
Yes.
And then Yelena sacrifices herself. And you only find out after the fact that she entered the void and that the void is a space that you can come out of. But we didn't know that. But I think that's an interesting parallel, right? Tony Stark sacrificed himself and had everything to lose.
Yep.
Yelena sacrificed herself and had nothing to lose. She had everything to gain. She has spent the whole film trying to figure out what her purpose in life is. She was the best person to step into the void.
Yeah.
Because if it killed her, I think she would have been relieved.
Yes.
Because this is a film about battling depression.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's part of the parallel here is that you've got the Battle of New York. It's a big, epic punch 'em up where you have a character with everything to lose that sacrifices himself. And in this film, it's not a punch 'em up. In this film, it is a therapy session.
Yep.
And it is a therapy session that is absolutely riveting, that I loved.
Yeah.
It was a really mature take on the superhero genre, and the character who pulls it off has everything to gain.
Yep.
And that is the huge difference and a huge reflection on how far we have come from taking these mythological characters that are, let's be honest here, not that nuanced.
No.
And with this cast, we were able to do something that felt closer to nuance.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. What you're talking about really comes through in a lot of moments in the movie when Yelena goes to see Alexei and she wants to talk to him and she doesn't know how. They're both clearly lying to each other. This is a father-daughter moment. And he's like, yeah, work's going great. And she's like, I think I want to quit my job. And a lot of us have had that discussion with a parent. And when you have that discussion, what you want is your parent to tell you it's okay. That's always what's happening. You're going to your parent because in that moment, you want to be a kid again, and you want your parent to tell you that your decision is okay because you've probably already made the decision. And Alexei says, no, why would you do that? I would kill to be with her. And in that moment, he's putting himself into it. And he became honest. And she's like, what are you talking about? I thought things were great. Clearly things are great. She can see his home. She's also being dishonest. And so there's this reflection of real life relationships that's happening that's beautiful. When the movie starts and Yelena jumps off the building and you can just see the lack of emotion, the lack of caring. She does have everything to gain because she is at a point in her life where she has nothing. She has work that she doesn't care about, and that's it. And so she fills the rest of her time with drinks and just mind-numbing anything so she can not feel. Because when she does feel, she doesn't like what she feels. She doesn't like what she sees in the mirror. The discussion she has with Bob, what they've done with Bob throughout the movie as a reflection of depression, and I believe, I'm not a mental health expert, but I believe bipolar disorder. what they've done with him is phenomenal because there's that moment outside the vault where he just says casually, I think everyone would be better if I just was left behind.
Yeah.
He's framing it as he's doing it for everyone else, but really he's reaching out for help in that moment. He clearly is in a dark place. And what he's saying is, it'd probably be better for the world if I weren't here. And we all know what that means in a larger meta sense. And that is terrifying because that is a place that a lot of people have gotten to and experienced. And it is a very scary place when you think that everything would be better if you were just gone. And Yelena has a moment with him where she empathizes and she says, you know, we talk about these things and things can get really dark and it sometimes can feel like, and she pauses and he says, avoid. And she says, yeah, but you've got to get out of it. We've got to be better. And he says, well, how do you do that? And she goes, well, we shove it down. And we address that later because yeah, exactly. Because as we know now, that is not the way you deal with that. But I thought that was a really beautiful moment because in that moment, you see that just talking about these things, that reaching out can be a big help for a lot of people. And not only reaching out in this gross, overarching positivity that I think people often want to come with, saying that things are going to get better. It's going to be great. Sometimes you just need someone else to say, hey, I felt something similar. Maybe not as bad as you are, but I've been there.
Yeah.
And it can get better. An acknowledgement that you're not crazy.
Yeah.
That what you're feeling isn't wrong and that you're not alone in this. And I thought this particular cast of characters was really well suited to frame a story dealing with those issues because they are loners. They are solo acts that are all fighting their way through the world, being people that more often than not, most people don't want to be and can't be. And that does leave them isolated and in a position where I imagine they would feel some level of depression, assuming they're not sociopaths.
All of that is valid. And to me, what it resulted in was an ending that felt more like some of the best, highly regarded comic book storylines than a lot of the MCU does, right? It is fascinating to put these characters that can punch real good.
They punch real good.
Punch real good, you know, world-class assassins, characters that can phase through objects, characters with amazing powers, and put them in a situation where none of that matters.
Nope.
It doesn't matter how strong you can hit. That's not what this is about. And to me, that's always been fascinating. When you take a character who can shoot knives out of their hands or shoot optic blasts and put them in a situation where you can't punch your way out of this.
Yeah.
And we need more of that.
Yeah. For all intents and purposes, the void is stopped by a hug.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that we have, I believe, 3 super soldiers in this movie, 2 assassins, one of which can phase through reality. And what got them out of this is supporting someone.
Yeah.
Being there.
Just being there for
listening and understanding what he needed in that moment.
So this has been very good and very heavy. Can I bring it to something light for a second?
Okay, go ahead.
The other thing I want to talk about is at the end of this film, in the post-credit sequence, we see what appears to be a multi-dimensional craft.
It does not appear to be.
It is
named.
Is it?
It is named. It is, as I've seen this movie once again about 2 hours ago, it is named as a multi-dimensional spacecraft has entered our airspace.
Sure. And it is clearly designed by the Fantastic Four.
Correct.
Here's my question. Who do you think is on that spaceship?
So you have thoughts. You've always said you had thoughts. You wouldn't tell me because you wanted to wait till we got on the pod. I think it is one of 2 things. I think that it could be the entire Fantastic Four, or I think it is only Mr. Fantastic, which I think would be really dope. Really, really dope. If it's just Mr. Fantastic and he has come looking for someone who can help with his little problem.
I think there's more than one Reed Richards on that spaceship.
That's terrifying.
I think you got the entirety of the Fantastic Four cast from the upcoming film, including the baby.
Because you think that's going to lead to Nathaniel Richards.
And I think there is another Reed Richards on that spaceship.
I don't know what to do with this information.
We're going to find out. I think there is more than the Fantastic Four in that spaceship. The other people I've been thinking about that have an unresolved thread that could be on that spaceship
Okay, shoot.
are Doctor Strange and Clea,
I'd hate that.
aka Charlize Theron.
Can we talk about the fact that Charlize Theron's in the MCU and I regularly forget about this?
Yeah.
They need to figure that out, because are we just wasting Charlize Theron?
That's what I'm saying, though. This is a multidimensional spacecraft, right? Who knows who's
That's
there
fair.
and why they're there? I think that what we will get at the end of the Fantastic Four film is an actual incursion. We'll see a universe die in that film.
Yeah, I think so
And
too.
they will be the survivors, and it will be crazy.
But that's why I wanted to be only Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic.
There's no way. I'm telling you, there's at least one more Reed Richards on that spaceship.
See, now that you've dipped into the multidimensionality of it all, the thing that I want, that I know we're not going to get, but I want it, I would love it if on that spaceship were Wongers and Madison.
Oh, yeah.
That would make me the most happy.
If they're the only people on this spaceship,
That would be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, that would be really good. Does Wong know how to pilot a spaceship?
I mean, he's the Sorcerer Supreme.
Does Madison know how to pilot a spaceship?
I mean, he's the Sorcerer Supreme. He's first team all state. Put the ball wherever he wants. Make it rain out here.
Sure. That's fair. Yeah, that's it. I think
You think there's at least 2 Reed Richards.
there's at least 2.
So that gets into the Council of Reeds and
The other thing that I keep thinking about is the Illuminati.
yeah.
Right? In the comics, the Illuminati tried to prevent the incursion events from happening. At one point, they equipped Captain America with 2 Infinity Gauntlets to try and stop the incursion from happening. Can't do it. We know that Professor X, Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, Reed Richards, these characters are involved with that. Maybe we will see some variation of the Council of Reeds
Yeah.
or some variation of the Illuminati. And I think there's more than one Reed Richards on that spaceship.
Damn it. I would love a Kang. I would love a Kang on that spaceship, because if Marvel can manage to give me an effective Kang, not ending, but delay, if we can get a Kang that we have now dropped into another film and managed to neutralize via Doctor Doom until a future date, I would be much more satisfied than just forgetting that Kang ever happened, which is what we're trying to do.
I think you're going to get this moment.
You think
I
so?
don't know if you're going to get it in Fantastic Four.
I don't think we're going to get him.
I think you're going to get it in Doomsday. I think you're going to get the moment you're looking for.
I hope so.
At least some variation of it.
I hope so, because Coleman Domingo clearly needs to be our new Kang.
I'm cool with it.
We need to just shelve Kang for a while we deal with this Doom thing, and I think we need to slide Coleman right on in here and let my man cook. A couple more things I want to touch on. How did you feel when you left the theater after watching this film? Does this give you hope for upcoming projects, and do you want to see these characters in things moving forward? And your thoughts on the post-credit scenes, which we've touched on lightly.
I loved it. I had a lot of fun. I did feel like I needed to talk to my therapist, and I can't wait to see these characters again. The post-credit scene that we got with them as the new Avengers versus Sam Wilson's Avengers as a concept is kind of interesting. They do feel like the bag cereal Avengers right now.
Yep.
And I think that's okay.
Yep.
I suspect that what may happen is we'll get West Coast Avengers and East Coast Avengers.
Oh, interesting.
Which would be fine. They're all Avengers. Who cares, right? Yeah, right now they feel a little bit like the bag cereal Avengers, and the new logo is making me feel that way, if I'm being honest.
100%.
Like, the new Avengers logo is not good. I saw somebody riffing on that, and they were like, well, if you mirror it, it is a 4.
You said it correctly. Like, they're not Apple Jacks, they're Apple Circles.
Yeah, they're not Lucky Charms, they're Marshmallow Mateys.
Yeah.
And I love a pirate marshmallow cereal, so who cares?
Delightful.
Yeah, I want to see the Thunderbolts come back. I know that we will see them in some capacity in Doomsday. I hope that they are able to carry this delicate new family kind of vibe that they have going on and not just make them feel like a generic superhero team. I think that's going to be difficult to pull across in a huge giant cast kind of film, but I hope that we get moments in Doomsday where this team feels like they do in their own film.
You can definitely do it. I think Marvel has the capacity to do it. We've definitely seen it done in recent times in one of our world's greatest film franchises.
You're going to have to elaborate.
You know, a film about a ragtag group.
You are having such a hard time keeping a straight face right now.
A film about a ragtag group of misfits.
You can hear the smile creeping in.
Who are
listen close,
dedicated to each other.
Yes.
And really focused on family.
And driving.
Yeah.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. We've seen it done. We've seen it very effectively done.
Yeah.
Where you successfully keep that family dynamic throughout multiple films and give the people what they want. High octane, celebrities, cars, explosions, bikinis, family. I'm talking about the Fast and Furious kids.
Yeah, everybody knows what you're talking about.
I just wasn't sure in case there was any confusion. I just wanted to let you know
confusion.
You can execute that at a very high level if you keep family.
Do you think Ludacris would be a good addition to the Thunderbolts?
I do.
I do
really
too.
Do. I actually do. Tej is pretty great.
Luda's pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Done with my Fast and Furious tangent and promo for the day. I agree with you. I left the movie very excited. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Let's bring back the Thunderbolts. Keep them quirky, man. Let's get a little weird with it. I love that they can do stuff that the regular Avengers can't. I love that we can deal with topics that are more ground level and more dynamic, and that prior to this film, they didn't have a god. They had to really figure this out and make it work and patch it together. And the fact that they're not completely in sync all the time really works for them. It was a lot of fun. The post-credit scene I thought was really cool because it sets up tension and almost a Civil War type dynamic with the two Avengers teams at this point, which is something that I would love to watch. I love watching more ground level hero versus hero, we're on the same level action. Like that could provide some action scenes that make sense, where we've got these crazy explosions and people aren't necessarily getting injured, but it works within the world. So I'm excited about what they could do.
You know, the one thing that's kind of sticking out in my brain here is that I hope the Avengers just reconcile, right? I hope we get the new Avengers and whatever team Sam Wilson's working on, I hope that they just become one team. And the reason I say that is because right now the team dynamics, they're not good, right? I love these characters together, but you got 3 super soldiers on one team.
Yeah.
We need a little bit of variety.
Yeah, we need some diversity.
Here's the other thing I'll say. That does not bode well for the future.
No.
You got 3 super soldiers. Yo, one of them is not making it out of Doomsday.
If you got 3 super soldiers, you don't have any.
And here's the thing. He's making it.
Yeah, it's going to be Bucky.
Bucky's making it.
Oh, you think Bucky's making it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's be clear. Red Guardian's definitely not making it.
He's not making it,
He's not
man.
making it. Let's be very clear.
No, there's no way.
Red Guardian's definitely not making it. But Bucky might not make it just because of how long he's been around. But I also don't think we want John Walker in a ton of stuff.
Oh, see, I disagree there because I hated him in the TV show. And I liked him a lot in this.
Yeah.
And I think there's some unexplored territory there.
Okay, I'm open to it because they did do a really good job positioning his character really well based on where we left him.
Yeah. I just don't see Red Guardian.
Yeah, Red Guardian's
much longer.
I think Yelena's going to be around for a while.
Yeah, I think she'll be around for a long time.
I think we've got our new Black Widow and she's locked in.
Yep.
All right. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the verdict. So it's time for J-Mac to give me his final judgment. Tell me if the Thunderbolts, aka the new Avengers, are going to make it on the sacred timeline or if they are due to be pruned.
No, they're straight up on the sacred timeline. What's not on the sacred timeline is this marketing campaign. Don't switcheroo the movie title. That's not really lame. I get it.
Again, but it's giving us more Sebastian Stan, which we'll take.
I'll take the Sebastian Stan, but you guys waited 48 hours after this film came out to be like, actually, it's the new Avengers. Just kidding. We're going to put stickers on all the movie posters. It's like, guys, Let people go watch the film. You know what would make me feel better about it? You know what would prevent me from removing this marketing campaign from the Sacred Timeline is if they just given it a couple weeks. But they couldn't help themselves. The movie had been out for less than 2 days, and they're like, just kidding, it's the new Avengers. No, lame.
Here's the thing.
The movie staying on the timeline.
The only thing I will give the marketing campaign is it is tactile. And as we were discussing prior to the recording, I love a tactile thing. We live in a digital world. I love physical media. I love some tactile stuff. Give me the tactile.
I'll buy you the Blu-ray. Is that what you mean by tactile?
You can't. We had this discussion. You can't buy me the Blu-ray.
I will.
It does exist.
And I will bring it to you.
You can buy me a poster of the key art if you'd like that.
Oh my God.
The originals, since you're being so saucy about the update.
I reserve the right to be saucy.
That's fair. All right, you got to give me your final score.
I think it's an 8 point something.
Okay.
I'm going to go not quite at 8.5.
Okay, so what you going? 8.3, 8.4?
Like 8.4.
All right.
It's not an 8.5. Yeah, if I'm rating it against other films, this is not better for me than Endgame. This is not better for me than Infinity War. There's a lot of Marvel movies that are awesome, but this is upper echelon for sure. It's one of the best films. If you could only watch 10 Marvel films, this would be in that 10 for sure.
Yeah, it's up there. I'm really struggling right now. When we originally watched it, I had it probably a little bit higher than where you had it. Now, I've had some time to sit with it and think, and I settled probably around where you are, and then I watched it again today, and I was like, the initial high is gone, and I dropped it a little bit. So I don't know. I'm torn. We do a weighted average, so I'm trying to think of what I would be comfortable with for the weighted average, and because of that, I think I'm going to go with an 8.1.
Whoa, okay.
Which is going to get us in the 8.25 range.
Sure.
And I feel pretty good right around there.
But definitely an 8.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
definitely
an 8. It's a really good film. If you have a chance, go see it. If you don't have a chance to see it in theaters, buy it when it gets to home office. It's a lot of fun. It deals with some really serious issues in a really interesting way. And I think they do a good job tackling some weighty stuff with some new dynamic, fun characters. You get to spend a couple hours with some misfit anti-heroes, and that's always a blast. We love an anti-hero story. Shout out to the MCU for giving us a quality piece of entertainment.
So you excited about the Fantastic Four or what?
I've been excited about Fantastic Four. It looks fantastic.
Gross.
See what I did there?
Gross. Thank you for listening.
We're not done yet.
Damn it.
We're not done yet. What I do have to bring us home with, as we always do, we like to end on a lighthearted note.
I sense danger.
There's no danger here. This is a safe space, okay?
It doesn't feel safe.
This is a safe space.
This does not feel safe.
Okay? I like to create a very nurturing environment where we can discuss all manner of things.
Incoming hot take.
I want to send off with the post-credit scene one more time. Both post-credit scenes have a Wheaties box in them.
Yes.
You know, we see David Harbour trying to pitch his Wheaties box to that nice Asian woman who's not having it. She thinks he's a creep.
He is a creep.
He seems creepy, but he's merely peddling his own product. And then later on, we see Sentry eating Wheaties. So there's this big theme of Wheaties throughout the movie. It's a big thing.
About cereal.
So I gotta ask, growing up, and as an adult,
oh my God,
what were your 2 favorite breakfast cereals?
I actually have those answers off the top of my head.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
As a child and now, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is super high up on the list. Probably number 2.
That makes you a child.
You know what?
Continue.
But my number 1 is the king of cereals, Raisin Bran Crunch.
Oh my God.
Now, here's the thing.
Oh, no.
Here's the thing that people don't understand is that it's the milk matters. You can't just be using any milk. What you need to bring out the full potential of the Raisin Bran Crunch is the vanilla flavored almond milk. That's number 1. Raisin Bran Crunch, vanilla flavored almond milk, number 1.
I am so disappointed.
You brought this on yourself.
I am so disappointed in you.
First of all, you called me a child.
You are a child. You eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That makes you a child.
It's delicious. Also, I'm older than you.
That's fair. That doesn't necessarily mean you're not a child. You are clearly a child. You've demonstrated yourself as such by your choices.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what I will say is also,
I'm Nakware like grape nuts.
not only have you chosen a poor cereal, you've chosen a poor vehicle with which to eat it. I'm an adult. I'm a healthy human. I've pivoted to nut milks, okay?
Yeah.
Pause. I like almond milk. We like oat milk. I can get behind it, but not in my damn cereal. There's only two places where I don't like alternative milks, and it's in my cereal and it's in my coffee. Coffee for flavor reasons, cereal for texture reasons.
Hold on. We're doing a brand new podcast. So like, you're telling me that you are down with nut milks, but not in cereal or coffee? Where are you using these milks?
Okay, let me be a little bit clearer.
Okay.
I do use nut milks in my coffee.
Yes.
I prefer whole milk in my coffee.
Okay.
But again, like I said, I'm an adult. We're making healthier choices.
Yeah, sure.
About 80 to 90% of the time, I'm going to get a nut milk in my coffee.
Okay.
Every now and then when I want a little treat,
Yeah.
we go whole. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Just to mix it up,
Get a
remind
little-
myself
get
that
a
I was young.
Look at a little cow in there.
In my cereal, it's completely unacceptable, and it's a texture issue. There is a different texture to nut milks, and if you say I'm wrong, you're lying to yourself.
I don't think you're wrong.
Exactly.
Milk has a creamier, more luxurious texture.
Which is why you've got to go whole milk. So if you can't go whole milk in the cereal, for the cereal to work, it's a trash cereal. Now, what I will say is, that is just a crazy take. So I'm just going to pivot and discuss my choices.
Okay, great.
The unacceptable answer that I want to give, but again, I understand that this wasn't really cereal. It was candy that was packaged to us as something we could eat as a healthy cereal option, is Reese's Puffs. They're incredible.
They're great.
They're delightful. But since they don't count because they're not actual cereal, the number one for childhood Q was honeycomb. They're incredible, they're extremely underrated, and they are a delight. I could crush a box by myself.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I respect your decision, even though you so flagrantly disagree with mine.
Yeah, because yours is preposterous. As an adult, if you want to go the quote unquote seemingly somewhat like healthy option-ish, that again, not as healthy as they're telling us it is, but still really, really good, you gots to go Honey Bunches of Oats. Oh my. The flavors they were bringing to the table on Honey Bunches of Oats. Y'all can't see, but I'm dancing in my chair right now. Honey Bunches of Oats, as a grown-up, as an adult, was hitting the spot every time. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't eat cereal anymore because, as I've discovered, most of them are terrible for you. That's what we've discussed. But
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the ones we like and fall back on are pretty awful. But if I were going to, it would be Honey Bunches of Oats, honeycomb. I know you're all seeing a trend here with the honey in my cereals, or Reese's Puffs. Oh, that's the holy trinity right there. We're bringing the heat.
There's so many good cereals out there, though.
There are.
These are good choices you've made. You also brought up 3. You only gave me 2.
That's fair.
If I had a third one, I don't know.
Yeah, see?
I don't
See, you didn't need more options because you've already made poor decisions and now you're second guessing yourself. You're running through the cereal Rolodex in your head right now and you're like, I don't want to be judged again.
I don't mind being judged. I don't like Fruit Loops or Fruity Pebbles.
I will get on board with you on both of those. Fruity Pebbles, actually, I fundamentally also think are trash. They fall apart immediately.
Yeah,
I don't
there's no
understand how
texture
people
there.
are eating
There's
it.
no texture there.
Fruity Pebbles, I just feel like is like aggressively on the sweet. Like I'm like, all right, we're really shoving the sweet in my face. But I get if that's people's bag, they like it, cool. Yeah, the Fruit Loops anyway. Fruity Pebbles are just an abomination to my mouth.
My favorite thing about breakfast cereals is that Captain Crunch got permission to make a mistake cereal. No one else has an oops all whatever. Only Captain Crunch has oops all crunch berries. Like you guys, they screwed up at the factory and they're like, let's just go with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Print a new box.
honestly, that may have been what happened. And I love
Oops.
it. I love it.
Oops all crunch berries. They are going to cut your mouth up.
One of these days,
You're going to bleed. That's part of the flavor.
every now and then you got to let marketing run things. Like one of these days, we got to talk about my favorite ad campaign, which was when Eggo released their own waffle syrup. And the entire ad was just the marketing team being scolded for not coming up with the idea sooner. And I think that is the greatest campaign I've seen in a long time.
That's pretty good. I do think that you got a tendency to ignore the classics, and the classics are classic for a reason. I do think that Raisin Bran is good. I do think Raisin Bran Crunch is superior.
I'm not entertaining this.
Do you just not like raisins?
I'm not even.
Or is it the bran? Do you not like bran?
I'm not going to get into why.
What do you not like
That is terrible
about bran?
cereal. I will simply address.
Do you know that the raisins are sugared?
I will simply
They're
address
sweetened.
your previous statement that I don't like the classics. And my response
It's not
to
like I'm
that,
asking you to defend Kix.
my response to that is that I am a disruptor. I'm trying to change the game and expose the world to newer and better things.
Kid tested,
Ladies and gentlemen,
mother
that
approved.
has been the Entertainment Variance Authority on the Thunderbolts.
We're not done here.
We appreciate you listening. It's been fun. It's been good. Stay great.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Entertainment Variance Authority. Listen to additional episodes wherever you get your podcasts. And keep an ear out for future episodes. I'm told there's something fantastic on the horizon. Super.